Alright, that's enough joking around. Let's get down to business. As you can see, we got the Nitrous Express going on now. Now, the plan is we're going to test this stuff with the 289 first, right when spring hits. Then we're going to start transitioning it over to this once that gets built. But we're going to cut our teeth with the 289 because there's less to go wrong. But let's just kind of go over what exactly we got going on here. What do you need to do for nitrous? I mean, it's pretty simple, but let's just go over it. Okay, so it comes with a 10-pound bottle, right? Obviously empty, they can't ship them full. Uh, Comes with the brackets to mount inside the car. See that? You mount that on the floor. Comes with, I don't know how many feet this is, but it looks significant enough for our purposes. So we'll be able to mount that in the car or in the trunk, we're not sure yet. Run that fuel line up to the plate. Let's go to the plate. The plate system couldn't be any simpler. You just slap it underneath the carburetor. Okay, comes with a hard line. Here's your fuel solenoid, because it says fuel right on it. And then it will say an in, or it will say an in and an out for the lines. Then we come over back. Same thing with the nitrous solenoid, the exact same thing. Now, right here is where your jets go. It threads right there. And it's just like a jet for a carburetor, basically, except just shaped a little funky. But it's got numbers on them, and there's charts you can look at to see what jet you need where to get what amount of horsepower. So as you can see, the plate has a solid bar in the middle, and that's where it sprays. You can kind of see those holes right there. The nitrous will spray above, the fuel will spray below. That way the nitrous can hit the fuel and atomize it on its way down. So that's basically the setup right there. You just slap this underneath the carburetor. It even came with these studs, which that's pretty nice. And you're basically ready to go. You gotta hook this up, right? The two solenoids. You gotta hook it up to power and to a switch, or any switch, however you want to activate them. I'm just gonna use the push button on the shifter handle. Then the fuel, right? It's just you make a T right off your normal fuel line and come it right into here. Okay? You can run a separate fuel line, separate fuel pump for it. I mean, if you're doing a bigger shot, then I would recommend that. But for the small shots that we're going to stick with, just doing a simple T will be fine. Of course, you just plumb your nitrous line right into there. So this kit also came with an arming switch, right? So you arm it to make this button, it also came with live. So when you push the button, it'll spray the nitrous and fuel mixture. Now, there's no purge on the system. Purge is basically when you get all the air out of the lines, mainly the nitrous line. So the way you purge this system is you gotta put it in neutral, you gotta get the RPMs up, okay? Don't do it lugging the motor. Bring the RPMs up, and then you just push, push, push until you hear the RPMs going up every time you push it, purging the system without hurting the motor. If you're running nitrous, there's three things you gotta keep in mind: your piston ring gap, your octane of the fuel, and your spark plug heat range. Okay? The ring gap for the 289 we're not controlling. It just is what it is. It's factory, it's worn out. We have no idea what it is. So you can't spray a very big shot on it. 100 shot, 150 shot, it's about the limit for us being safe anyway with a stock ring gap. This, we're going to open up the ring gap. This will see maybe 200, 250 shot. Of course, ring gap, as we know, is that gap in the ring right there. You measure that by you putting the ring in the cylinder, without the piston in it. You put the ring in the cylinder, then you square it off with the piston. You get a feeler gauge. However much distance there is, whatever that gap is in there, that's your ring gap. You normally want a bigger ring gap when you're running nitrous, because nitrous creates heat, and the heat will expand this ring. If you don't open up that ring gap, the two ends will touch, and then it won't have any place to go, but it'll buckle and it'll break the top of your piston. So again, if you're running nitrous, you really should have opened up your ring gap. But if you don't, you got to limit the shot to about 100, 150 probably max. Okay? Now, octane. You want to run good octane fuel. Don't just run pump gas when you're using the nitrous. You really need that higher octane, because essentially you're raising the compression of the motor by fitting more stuff in that cylinder. More stuff is getting squeezed into a tighter spot, upping the cylinder pressure. That's what makes more power here, because you're fitting more stuff in there. More stuff compressed into the same space, higher cylinder pressures, higher compression. You need more octane. Now, depending on how you run your fuel line, if you're just going to make a T off your normal line up into the nitrous solenoid, then you got to fill the whole tank with, high octane stuff. If you choose to run a separate line with a separate pump just for the nitrous solenoid, then you could possibly pull out of a fuel cell that has the high octane in it. Say you put 110 octane in the fuel cell, and that will shoot with the nitrous. That's a way to do it too. But what we're going to do, we're doing the T, we'll just run higher octane. And then there's your spark plug heat range. You gotta go lower on your heat range when you're running nitrous. Like we said before, cylinder pressures, all that, higher compression, yada yada. You need a colder spark plug, because you don't want the spark plug to be too hot and accidentally pre-ignite the mixture. Okay, bonus fourth thing that I forgot about. Timing. You gotta back off your timing just a bit when you're running nitrous, because, like we said before, there's more stuff in there. Having more stuff in there means everything's closer together as a result. When you have a dense mixture, the flame is able to travel through it a lot quicker than a loose mixture. A loose mixture, the flame has to hop from molecule to molecule. Dense mixture, it's able to travel a lot faster. Faster flame travel means you need less advance in order for it to happen when you want it to. Now, so long as you follow those, basic guidelines, good octane fuel, colder spark plug, back off the ignition timing a little bit, and if you can, file your ring gap. As long as you take those into effect, really these three, if you're running 100 shot, 125, 150, probably max, without the ring gap, like we said before. But good octane fuel, lower colder spark plug, and back off the ignition timing, you should be perfectly safe to run nitrous. Yeah, nitrous doesn't blow up engines. Bad tuning, people who don't take those steps, that's what blows up engines. Nitrous in of itself isn't, it's not going to hurt nothing as long as you use it right. And we're hopefully going to use it right this spring. So stay tuned for that. And I'll catch you next time.